everyone! Welcome to a quick look at some new features we've recently released in Farmbrite. Our highlights for this month include new integration capabilities through a connection with Zapier, and an entirely new subsection of the system for climate tracking. We'll look at both of these in depth, and then tour some smaller but still impactful enhancements requested by our user community. Let's take a look at the new Zapier integration first. You can find it under the account menu in the upper right. Just choose integrations. This new feature helps you connect your Farmbrite system with thousands of other tools and apps to transfer data back and forth between them. We know Farmbrite is critical to your business operations, but we also know that you'll use other tools too. Maybe you keep track of your farm's accounting and financial information in QuickBooks, and you'd like your income and expense transactions to sync there. Or maybe you sell some of your products through a Shopify marketplace and would like your Farmbrite inventory reduced when items are sold there. Or perhaps you use an email campaign tool like MailChimp to send out newsletters and promotional offers to your customers, and want Farmbrite to share customer data to create new contact records for your campaigns. In the past, you would have needed programming know-how to create an API integration, but now you can take advantage of Zapier, a tool designed to make integrating web apps easier, offering no-code integrations between thousands of apps. To start, you'll need to sign up for a Zapier account and connect it here. There are a few steps to do this, and we've outlined them in a comprehensive help article. Just choose Help and then open the Integration section, and you'll find a whole article walking you through the Zapier integration. And while you're here, you'll also find information about integrating Farmbrite with your site using webhooks or an API. You might use these custom solutions if you're looking to integrate with something not offered by Zapier. And speaking of what's offered by Zapier, you can use their site to see what's available, or search right here in Farmbrite once you've connected your account. You'll find connections for lots of different tools from Google, email tools like Outlook, communication tools like Slack, or even social media sites like Facebook. We think there's unlimited potential in what you can do with these integrations, and are very curious to see how you use it. Reach out to us and let us know what you've created, and we might add it to the popular options so that other users in the Farmbrite community can add it as well. Now let's move on to our next new feature, climate tracking. No matter what you're growing, how you're growing it, or where you're located, the weather's going to have an impact on your agricultural operation. From tracking soil moisture for irrigation, to light levels for plant growth, or temperature and humidity in animal enclosures, you likely have all sorts of technology to record weather data. And we know that data can sometimes be hard to read and capture though, so we've created this new subsection of Farmbrite devoted to recording and visualizing climate data trends at your farm. You'll have 4 areas here. 2 that come preloaded with data, the weather history and weather map, and 2 that allow you to track and record your own, gauges and climate logs. But even without recording any of your own data, you'll still find the climate section immediately useful, as it comes preloaded with data from the USGS, National Weather Service, and NASA for you to review and gain insight from. This Weather History tab shows you graphs of past precipitation and temperatures, while the Weather Map is a bit more in-depth with dozens of overlays with all kinds of important and interesting data. You can load map layers for temperature, vegetation, precipitation, soil moisture, and a lot more. And of course, NASA can give you informative insights, but that rain gauge that's mounted in your southwest barn, or the thermometer in your chicken coop, is going to be extremely helpful for your own unique operation. And that's why we allow you to create your own sources of data and then record logs for them. You can associate these gauges with fields, buildings, and animal enclosures, which lets you track different data in different places and then draw correlations to its effects on your livestock and crops. And when you want to add that data into Farmbrite, you can add a climate log. See that each log is associated with a date and a gauge, and lets you track information like precipitation, temperature, humidity, wind speed, and a lot more. When you create one, note that none of these are required. You can track what's important for you and your operation. You can add them every day, once a week, or whatever works for you. If your home weather station connects to your computer, It might have the ability to download a spreadsheet that you can import, or maybe the manufacturer has an app integration through Zapier that would let you add them to Farmbrite automatically. However you choose to add them, your data will be averaged and graphed on this page, giving you a visual representation of your microclimate. And now that you're more familiar with the two biggest features from this month, let's quickly go over some of the smaller but impactful changes we've made. These are just a few examples of ideas from our community that we've implemented to improve on existing features and enhance your Farmbrite experience. Let's start with a change we made to recurring events on your schedule. We've now given you the ability to choose to update a single occurrence in a series or all of the following events. Maybe we need to change the time on our weekly staff meeting, but only update this single occurrence because it occurs on a holiday or overlaps with some other event. Or maybe you've gotten some feedback from your staff and you need to change the length of the meeting and want all future events to be updated to reflect that. Either way, you can now make this selection when updating an event. And while we're here, we've also added two new views, a list view, which gives you an easier to read list of all the events in a week, or a year view, that gives you a higher level overview calendar for the entire upcoming year. Now we'll move on to our market section, where we've added a new choice under your online store settings. You'll find a field here for starting order number. We've heard from some users that the default numbering sequence made it kind of difficult to reference order ID numbers over the phone, and we've added a new feature to provide a custom starting order ID. This won't affect any of your existing orders, but you can set a starting ID here, and your newly added orders will start following that sequence going forward. If we take a look at our orders here, you'll see they're now using those new numbers rather than the older alphanumeric sequence. Next, we'll go to the tasks section, where you can now update the task complete date. We know that you won't always get to completing the task in Farmbrite on the day that you actually completed it, so we allow you to check the box for task complete and then change the date. This lets you more accurately track when the task was actually completed. Note that checking the box next to a task to mark it complete will still automatically add the date to that field and record when the box was checked. Next, we'll check out an enhancement under the livestock section. When we look at livestock groups, we've now added the ability for you to add livestock sets to basic groups. As an example, we have two chicken flocks, our Rhode Island Red and Leghorns. We can create a new livestock group. Maybe we'll call this chickens overall. We'll make it a basic group. And then when we go to add animals, we can add our Rhode Island Reds and our Leghorns. And now we've created one group out of both flocks, where we can add bulk treatments and feedings, or see measurements and growth averages for both flocks together as one. And while we're in the livestock section, let's go back to animals, and we'll take a look at one of our cows to see a new field and tab for siblings. This shows you how many direct siblings they had. That's those that are born on the same day, like twins and triplets, or the total number of siblings that this animal shares with any dam or sire. We can see cow 18 and 21 listed as siblings, as they share the same cow 35 as a sire. And one last thing to show you, let's go to measurements and see that you now have the ability to import measurement records. We had heard from some new users that they wanted to easily add historical growth records without having to add them individually, so now you'll find the ability to import measurements here. Alright, so that takes us through some of the features that we've released in June. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. We're always glad to help. See you next month.